I'd have times where, I'd swear I'm on the right amount for my intake that I'm targeting, and then I found it. So I weigh the bag beforehand, I weigh it afterwards, and I have the food scale there. So I just stay on top of myself if I'm picking things out of the bag.
Hi, welcome to the Judy Terrell Show, where I explore topics intended to optimize every body 50, 60, 70, and above.
Hi, everybody, and welcome to your second 50. And thank you for joining me. This is episode number 4 in my 6-part series on my tips for fat loss, especially if you're over 50, both male and female. They'll also apply to people who are younger, but over 50 things become even more difficult for a variety of reasons. And my practice is concentrated on 50 plus men and women. I'm 61 years myself, so I'm targeting the over 50 for my tips right now. All right, you're on episode number 4. And the tip I'm going to give you for this one is going to be, you have to track what your intake is. All right, so I have many clients that come in, and I actually give them eating programs. I tell them exactly how much to have, and then they have success and they'll follow that. But if over time they don't continue to track, then what happens is they start to plateau or they start to see, regain. So my insight from my practice is that if I have clients that are telling me they're not seeing their weight loss and they're following all the criteria that they know is going to be right for them to lose weight, and they were losing weight up until a certain point, then I will say to them, okay, life is not set up for us to actually, to help us to lose weight. If you're living in the 21st century, anywhere really around the globe, but definitely in the United States of America, just our food environment, the products and the foods that are coming out are not in our best interest from a fat loss point of view, nor a health point of view. And we have to interface with them all the time. And our lifestyles are such that we like to go out. All of our, social events revolve around food, because we have to eat on a regular basis. And so what happens is, because the environment of which we're interfacing with is designed to pull us off our plan that works to lose weight, then we have to have things that we build in that are going to help us to stay mindful and aware, so that as life is pulling us off, we have a double check that we are actually staying on the program. I'll give you an example from my practice. I have client after client that comes in, they swear to me that they are following the plan. And then I'll say, okay, well, let me show me your food journal. And that could be an app on a phone, or it could be a handwritten, but something where let's take a look at what you're doing. And they're saying, oh, I don't do that. And I say then that's where I'm like, okay, there is where your barrier is going to come. Because even though you think you're following the exact numbers and the exact portions or close enough, and you're eating really healthy, this is a big one I hear from people, but I'm eating all healthy food, so, how could I not be losing weight? Because it's a quantification. It's a calorie deficit, and it's a, choice of the healthy options, of course, but if you're not, staying mindful, then you are doing things that you don't recognize that are throwing you off your plan that's going to get you fat loss. That's just the way it is. I can give you many examples of how this has shown up in my practice. I'm going to give you a couple, like right now. So number 1, I've got a woman, 60 plus years old, diabetic. She was losing weight with me, doing great, and then it stalled and we couldn't figure out why. And this is why. And this took a lot of sleuthing. But she had a cold and she had a tickle in her throat, and so she bought cough drops, a box of cough drops, and she was sucking on them through the day, and she would go through a box a day, and her cold lasted for a while, and then she kind of liked it, and she thought, like, well, I'm going to just keep doing this. We have dry air in the Northeast when it's in the middle of winter inside our buildings, so she's sucking on these cough drops. Well, each cough drop was sugar, by the way, but 25 calories each. The box was 15, and so by the end of the day, under her radar, there was 350 calories, and we had set a 500 calorie deficit up for her, and there it was. But we would never have found that if I didn't say to her, listen, for 1 week, I want you to write down every single thing that goes in your mouth, because you're not aware of something that's corrupting this, And again, she swore up and down, no, I'm not, no, I'm not. And so she wasn't from the sense of she wasn't eating Oreos and she wasn't, having dessert that she then wasn't reporting. But it was an unconscious, out of her awareness intake. All right. Another way this happens is, and this happens to me. I will tell you this. I have my lunch that I've made. I'm going to have it, but I want to put it I'm going to warm it up. I put it in the microwave, but I'm hungry. And as I'm standing there, I have crackers that are whole grain, seeds, sprouted, healthy as all get go. They're fiber, high fiber, natural fiber, and they're in my, shelf, so as I'm waiting for that to cook and I'm hungry, I'm popping, and I'll go for the broken ones. It's a psychological thing. I'm like, I'll take a half one in there, half one, because I really don't want to eat them. I'm just waiting for my meal.
Your Second 50 Life is my virtual platform that is designed for both men and women over 50 and 60, 70, and 80. And it includes pre-recorded video information on exercise and how to do it, whether you're fit and in good health, or if you have bad knees, bad shoulders, a bad back, whatever. It includes information on how to eat for weight management and how to eat for health management. It includes information on the psychology of aging and what do we need to do in our heads, because let's face it, this aging thing is not for the faint of heart. So your Second 50 Life is a virtual platform of resources that you can access at your own leisure, but it also includes 2 times a month live video coaching with me so that you can bring your own individual questions and get individual coaching, as well as have access to all the information on the pre-recorded videos. So please check it out, because we're all in this together and we got this.
But because I write everything down on a day-to-day basis, and I've been doing it for like 30 years, I have to quantify that. So I have a food scale, and I'll take the bag that was already opened, and I will have measured it before I do this, by the way. I didn't tell you this, how many ounces was in that, because I've learned I have to do this. And then I put it back on, and when I counted what I thought I ate, the amount that I thought I ate, I would have said that was 150 calories, that was 15 crackers. And then when I look at it, it was actually 2 ounces, and it's 300 calories. And I would swear to you on a stack of Bibles or whatever else that is sacred to me, that I only had an ounce. And if I was reporting to a coach, I would say, no, I only had this amount. And I know that was over my meal, but I allocated for that because I took it from my snack or whatever. So it's insidious. And here's another way it happens, okay? People will be very meticulous and fastidious all through the week. And then the weekend comes and they're not going off their plan. They're not like doing a cheat weekend or whatever, but they're just not like tracking. And they can't believe that the weekend would have thrown them off enough to make up for 5 days of the week when they're eating on plan to the, dot the I and cross the T. But it does, because my clients who do that, they don't keep the journal on the weekend. So they're blind to how much they might be going off. And it might be that they're off 1,000 calories a day or 600 2 days in a row. And that's enough to wipe out 3 days of being on your plan Monday through Friday. And that's blocking your fat loss. And I can give you endless examples of this, but those are 3 very common ones. And this is why I'm saying to you, I am an advocate of keeping a check, monitoring your intake, weighing, measuring, and then staying as close as possible to that. You can't weigh and measure everything if you're out to a restaurant, but you can guesstimate, from looking at the plate and using Google search. But, when you're cooking for yourself and at home and you got a box or whatever, like I just said about the crackers, you got to quantify like what's your intake. Because if you do, and my clients who swear to me that they're following everything, if I can get them and I say, okay, for 1 week, I want you to keep next to you on your desk or in your kitchen, wherever, in your pocketbook. And every time you eat it, when you eat it, don't wait till the end of the day to record it. When you're eating it, you're writing it down. You will find things that you were unaware of. And it wasn't like you were lying to your coach or your, or yourself for that matter. They are blind spots. And we all have them because everyday life, is designed to get in the way of us being mindful of this. So, my tip number 4 is track. You've got to track, and I am a big advocate of tracking as you're going. as opposed to retrospectively, like looking back over the day, thinking you're going to remember everything. And depending on who you are, some people really like the apps that are on, the free apps that are on your phone. And they work really well. And the benefit to them is they show the pie chart with the macros and all that. But they're going to show you whether you're on whether you're over on a calorie mark you're shooting for, or under, or at balance. So they work great for some people. I personally do not like them. I'm 61, and technology, although I'm savvy, it's like it makes my brain go into like numb mode. So I want to minimize that. I actually handwrite. I keep a journal, and then when I'm done with it, I throw that one out and I start a new one. I don't keep them around, but it's just basically my, just checking day by day to keep myself aware of my blind spots, like those crackers I just told you about. I weigh the bag before I start and then weigh it afterwards, because I was getting, like, if I was trying to go through for a couple pounds of weight loss and I get stalled, I'd be like, why is this happening? Or if I'm trying to get ready for a race or event I was in, like, I'd have times where, I'd swear I'm on the right amount for my intake that I'm targeting, and then I found it. So I weigh the bag beforehand, I weigh it afterwards, and I have the food scale there. So I just stay on top of myself if I'm picking things out of the bag or the box or whatever. So anyway, tip number 4 is track, so that you can be mindful of making sure you're staying at the calorie deficit that you're going for your fat loss. Go back to my episode number 1 about the calorie deficit. All right, everybody, we've got this. This is tip number 4. Institute this for a week, and then watch my number 5, and let's add the next tip. Okay? See you soon on the next video. And if you'd like to have access to some of my additional resources, I can be found at Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and on my website, www.judyterrell.com.